The Blues make their way into the FA Cup fourth round after seeing off Chesterfield at Stamford Bridge. Watch until the end of this review to hear all of my thoughts on today's match. Hello people, welcome to my channel, welcome to another video. This is my review of the match that took place earlier on today at Stamford Bridge in the FA Cup third round between Chelsea and Chesterfield, which Chelsea ended up winning by 5-1. So what I'm going to do for you guys in terms of this review is that firstly, I will run you through the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of today's match against Chesterfield. I will then be giving you guys my thoughts on the match itself, and as always I'll be breaking it down into the first half and the second half, and in addition to this I'll be giving you guys the positives and the negatives that I took from the match, and lastly I will be giving you guys my thoughts on Chelsea's upcoming Carabao Cup semi-final second leg that will be taking place next Wednesday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Tottenham Hotspur, of course, with kickoff at 7:45 p.m. UK time. So without further ado, let's get straight into this review. Let's do it. So we shall begin by taking a look at the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of today's match against Chesterfield. And yes, we shall start things off by talking about the formation that he chose. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, it was a bit difficult to see what the formation was during the early stages of the game because the players were moving so freely. But yes, it turns out that it was a 3-4-3/3-4-2-1. And in terms of the personnel that Thomas Tuchel decided to go with, he went with Marcus Bettinelli in goal. The back three comprised of Malang Sarr in the right centre-back position, Andreas Christensen in the centre of the back three, with Lewis Hall in the left centre-back position. The midfield four, including the wing-backs from right to left, was Hakim Ziyech in the right wing-back position, Saul Niguez and Mateo Kovacic, occupying the two central midfield positions, with Callum Hudson-Odoi in the left wing-back position. So that is the midfield four that Thomas Tuchel went with. And the front three from right to left was Christian Pulisic in the right forward position, Romelu Lukaku up front, and Timo Werner in the left forward position. So that is the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of today's match against Chesterfield. Now, in terms of my thoughts on the match itself, and yes, I will begin by talking about my thoughts on the first half because that's the most sensible way for me to approach this. I actually thought that we made a great start to the match. Yes, Chesterfield did try to attack us, and they were doing so with varying degrees of success in terms of actually pulling off shots. But I felt as though in the early exchanges, we put them under pressure and created some decent chances of our own. And I'm just going to get into the goal that was scored by Timo Werner. Mateo Kovacic picked up the ball, drove with it as we all know he can do, got into a really advanced position, gave it off to Hakim Ziyech, I think it was. Do not quote me on this. I think Hakim Ziyech tried to take a shot and it must have been saved by their goalkeeper, but it fell to Timo Werner, who just tapped it home from close range, and it gave us a 1-0 lead inside 6 minutes. And shortly after that, we got the second, which I'll get into in a second, no pun intended. But yes, great goal for Timo Werner. That will do his confidence the world of good, and it's especially good to see him scoring immediately after returning to the starting 11. So, fair play to him. Yes, is a tap in. You expect him to score, but believe me, we've seen players miss that. We've seen players miss that chance or miss chances like that. So fair play to Timo Werner for getting the goal at such an early time in the game. But yes, that made it 1-0 to the Blues. Shortly after that, we got the second, and it came through Callum Hudson-Odoi, and this is This was a brilliant goal. Callum Hudson-Odoi picked up the ball in the left wing position. He cut inside on his dominant right foot and he just curled the ball into the far right corner, giving the Chesterfield keeper absolutely no chance of saving it. He got nowhere near it. Um, it was always curling away from him and it nestled into the bottom corner. Brilliant goal from Callum Hudson-Odoi, and he, for me, was tearing up that left hand side. He caused their right-sided players all sorts of problems up until he came off. He was running rings around them. He even nutmegged one of them at one point. But yes, the goal was absolutely brilliant. The third goal was scored by Romelu Lukaku and it came through Lewis Hall again down our left hand side. And Lewis Hall put in a really good ball to Romelu Lukaku, and Romelu Lukaku could not miss. He couldn't miss. And I say this because he did miss a few good chances before the scoring opened in our favour. So he couldn't miss. He just tapped it home, and that gave us a 3-0 lead. And I'm not gonna lie to you, um, there were some questionable challenges in the first half, um, some dodgy challenges from both sides, I might add, and thankfully we didn't see anything controversial in terms of bookings and dismissals. But yes, um, some odd looking challenges in that first half. But yes, the three goals were really good in terms of the build up play and um, how we managed to get through Chesterfield, who did end up getting deeper and deeper as the first half went on. They didn't really generate too many chances in the first half. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't remember Marcus Bettinelli having too much to do at all in the first half. But yes, the fourth goal came through Andreas Christensen, and this is his first ever goal in um, the domestic competitions, i.e., the Premier League, the FA Cup, or the League Cup. So, congratulations to him. It's only his second ever Chelsea goal, and what a brilliant header it was. The ball goes into the box. I can't remember how the ball got into the box, but the ball went into the box, and Andreas Christensen and Andreas Christensen just headed it over the Chesterfield goalkeeper, and it went into the bottom right corner on his side. It was a great header. Keeper had no chance. He would have had a better chance of stopping it from going in had he been on his line, but you can understand why he wasn't, because um, it didn't seem as though there was any sort of threat when the ball, um, or before the ball fell to Andreas Christensen. But yes, great goal for Andreas Christensen, and overall, it was a solid first half performance from us, and it was expected in terms of the performance, if I'm being completely honest, despite the amount of changes that Thomas Tuchel made to the lineup. And in terms of my thoughts on the second half now, I have to be honest, it was a good start to the second half. Thomas Tuchel did bring on some players from the bench. I can't actually remember who came on for who, but Kai Havertz came on, Ross Barkley came on, Ruben Loftus-Cheek came on, Lewis Baker came on, and Harvey Vale came on, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but I'm not going to lie to you, as the game went on, um, we were struggling to generate more chances. Actually, no, I'll take that back. Before I get into my thoughts on how we were when all the substitutes were made, I'm just going to talk about the fifth goal. Definite penalty. I don't know what that Chesterfield defender was doing. Christian Pulisic got into the box with the ball and he got absolutely clattered. The Chesterfield player got absolutely nowhere near the ball. It's a stonewall penalty, and Hakim Ziyech stepped up to take it and he sent um, the ball into the bottom right corner. Yes, the keeper did dive the right way, but it went underneath him, and Hakim Ziyech, for me, deserved that goal because he was really good. After that, we saw the players come on, some of the players that I mentioned already, we saw them come on, and I felt as though that changed the game. We looked less fluid. We looked we looked a bit disjointed, but I can understand why, because of course the players that came on um, have never really played with some of the players that started the game, so that's always likely to happen. But yes, we did look a bit disjointed after that. I mean, after the substitutes came on, but we did still generate some good chances. Although, um, honestly, we should have done better in terms of our decision making, especially towards the end of the game. And in terms of the consolation goal that Chesterfield got, honestly, Bettinelli should have done better. But I'm not going to be too hard on him. It's his first game for the team, and I actually felt as though he did really well, despite not having too much to do. I think that he did well with what he had to do, and um, yeah, what more can you ask? It was pretty much a tap in anyway, and it's just unfortunate, I guess. Although um, it's unfortunate for Marcus Best. Sorry, it's unfortunate for Marcus Bettinelli in the sense that it's his debut, and the mistake he made did result in Chesterfield scoring a goal, and he would have wanted to keep a clean sheet on his debut for sure, but he still had a pretty good game in my opinion, a pretty solid game, shall I say. But yes, that was how Chesterfield scored their goal. It was a tap in, and they did celebrate, and fair enough, you can understand why. Just before I give you guys my final thoughts on the game, I'm just going to say that the Chesterfield fans were actually really good. They were really loud for the majority of the game. I was at the game. It was really good to watch. It felt nice to watch at the ground instead of watching it on the TV. The atmosphere was good, especially from the Chesterfield fans. I felt as though the section I was sitting in was pretty quiet, except for when we scored. But the atmosphere was still good, and fair play to the Chesterfield fans who made that journey. It must have been a long journey, given that Chesterfield is in Derbyshire. But anyways, I digress. Overall, solid performance. Yes, some players weren't at their best, and I'm looking at some of the players that you'd think would be in our main squad. But yes, I felt as though Hakim Ziyech and Lewis Hall were the two best players on the pitch, with Callum Hudson-Odoi not far behind. But yes, it was a solid performance. And in terms of the positives and the negatives that I took from the match, two positives, only one negative. The first positive that I took from today's match is the fact that Lewis Hall was solid. Defensively, he was solid, absolutely solid. He did not let anything get past him, and it was brilliant to see because he is not um well, I'll rephrase it. I'll rephrase what I was going to say before I say it, if that makes any sort of sense. He is not a natural centre back. He's a central midfielder or a left midfielder who can play at left back, but he has proved that he can play at centre back and that he can develop into a really good centre back because he literally did not let anything get past him. He made some really good tackles. He was smart on the ball as well. He knew what pass to make. He knew when to keep it simple and when to drive with the ball. He also got an assist for Romelu Lukaku. Good performance from him. I'm really happy with him. And hopefully he keeps it up because if he does, then he'll be the next in line to make it into the first team. And fingers crossed that happens. But yes, he was really good. And that was the first positive, or that is the first positive rather, that I took from today's match. The second and final positive is that we scored some good goals. And I'm just going to leave it as that because I've already gone through the goals already. But anyways, those are the two positives. Sadly, there has to be a negative. And the only negative that I took from today's match is the fact that we did take a bit of, sorry, is the fact that we did take our time on the ball in the final third. And I'm talking about the second half. I was um I was watching them cut through their midfield and get into really good positions, and they just took too long on the ball. There were so many opportunities where a player would, um, sorry, there were so many opportunities for the players to shoot, and they just didn't take them. Instead, they just tried to play the extra pass, and they ended up losing the ball. But of course, I can understand why that was the case, especially um, with the fact that a lot of the players that were on were not players that are normally in the first team. It was a mix of youth and experience, as we all expected, and that is always bound to happen. But yes, that is it for the positives and the negatives, and that is it for my thoughts on Chelsea's 5-1 victory over Chesterfield in the FA Cup third round at Stamford Bridge. Please, guys, do drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will do my very best to respond. But anyways, let's move on to the final part of this review, which will of course be my thoughts on Chelsea's upcoming Carabao Cup semi-final second leg, which will be taking place next Wednesday at the Tottenham Hotspur, of course against Tottenham Hotspur, with kickoff at 7:45 p.m. UK time. Let's do it. Now, to finish off this review, I will be giving you guys my thoughts on Chelsea's upcoming Carabao Cup semi-final second leg that will be taking place next Wednesday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Tottenham Hotspur, of course, with kickoff at 7:45 p.m. UK time. Honestly, this is going to be a difficult game. Spurs will want to do a lot better than they did in the first leg, and for that reason, I think that it will not be an easy game. We need to do a job on these lot. We don't necessarily need to score, but we absolutely cannot concede. And I say this because if we concede, then the game can so easily swing in this. Sorry, the game could so easily swing in the further of in. Oh my days. The game could so easily swing in the favour of Spurs, and that could actually see us go out of the competition. And given that we haven't won this competition since 2015, I would like to see us make the final at least. But yes, that's all I can say for now. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I hope you all enjoyed the match reaction that I did earlier on. But anyways, I'll see you all very soon. Thanks all for watching. Come on, you Blues. Come on, Thomas Tuchel, and peace.